If you keep attracting emotionally unavailable men, especially the kind who seem open and connected and all in during the first few weeks or months, only to withdraw emotionally when it starts getting real, this video is for you. There is a deeper force at play within you, magnetizing these men to you. They're drawn to your unresolved core wounds, and those very wounds in you make you only attracted to people who will trigger your pain and never truly show up. Today, I'm going to teach you the concept of the vortex, a powerful core wound within you that is like a sinkhole. It's deep and endless, and it keeps your unhealthy relationship patterns on repeat, no matter how much work you think you've done. I'll help you understand why you're still drawn to men who can't meet your emotional needs and what it actually takes to heal those wounds for good so that you can rewire your experience of attachment and actually be drawn to and attract healthy, secure men. Just like my client Sam, she had spent years in therapy doing everything right, counseling, behavioral work, CBT, talk therapy, and yet still she kept attracting emotionally unavailable men. She described herself as a human pretzel, constantly contorting and abandoning herself just to be whatever her partner needed. And nothing truly changed until she joined my program and she discovered how she'd been completely disconnecting from her body, disassociating from her own emotions and sensations. And once she dropped into the somatic healing work and learnt the tools to clear her core wounds, everything shifted. And she now feels the most peace she's felt in such a long time. She's been able to let go of resentment and guilt from her past and is no longer afraid of being alone, which was driving her self-abandonment. And it didn't just change her relationships, it gave her herself back. If you need help with this is the work that I teach my clients. I'd love to speak with you on a free consultation call. You can book a call with me in the link below. So you keep falling for men who aren't available, they don't want a relationship, their goals aren't aligned with you, you're clearly not a match, yet you can't stop thinking about him. Your anxiety's through the roof, you're obsessing about him, and you're just taking breadcrumbs. You're sleeping with him and effectively letting him walk all over you, all while knowing it is not in your best interest and that he probably doesn't think twice about you when you're not together. He's just not invested, but he stays around just enough to keep you hooked in. And if you pull away, he shows up more and you play this game of cat and mouse. In a dynamic like this, there is an elephant in the room, which is an unconscious fear of having a relationship the moment you two meet. You both fear it in your own way. You might consciously want it, be ready for it, have done all the healing work, but there still exists a block to intimacy within you where you don't feel fully safe to open up and you struggle to trust men, and the idea of meeting someone completely available and 100% into you makes you feel uncomfortable. The same fears are happening with an emotionally unavailable man at the same time, and he senses your block, your discomfort, and that is what makes him feel safe with you, even drawn to you, because he knows he won't have to fully show up in a relationship with you. He may not consciously realize this either, but your blocks to intimacy, your core wounds that make you uncomfortable with healthy love actually attract emotionally unavailable men to you. It's an automatic green light for them because they themselves were raised by caregivers with similar blocks. Now, your unconscious fear of having a relationship comes from your childhood, of course. You grew up thinking you need to earn love. Your parents were emotionally unavailable themselves, and you never felt fully seen, heard, loved, or understood as a child. And now you go for people that replicate this dynamic with you. They make you feel unworthy in some way because that's how you subconsciously feel about yourself now from your earliest experiences. And you think earning an emotionally unavailable person's love will give you that feeling of self-worth and heal that wound. But you actually hide from yourself in their problems, and you don't have to deal with your emotional unavailability because you're always focusing on how they're not showing up and what they're not doing for you. So dating emotionally unavailable guys is the perfect excuse to stay external and blame them, particularly if they were disingenuous about how they showed up initially and seemed available at the start, because you can continue to look outside of yourself for the problem. But there is more trauma to be healed within you if this is a pattern that's clearly repeating itself in your life. So think of patterns in your relationships as wounds trying to express themselves to be healed. You're constantly drawing in emotionally unavailable men because you have some emotional unavailability in yourself that is trying to resolve an unresolvable situation. For example, you want to finally be chosen by someone who can never truly choose another because of their emotional unavailability. This type of wound responsible for a consistently unhealthy attachment and attraction to the wrong types of men is your core abandonment wound. It will always be attracted to men who will continue to abandon you, and a man who is chronically emotionally unavailable will will only abandon those he loves. Even if he's in relationship with someone, that relationship is riddled with rejection as he keeps his walls up in different ways. So this kind of wound getting triggered is crazy making. I'm very familiar with it. The spiral of grief, the obsession, the anxiety that comes with it. You turn into a different person. You stalk their social media, you go crazy, your work suffers, your friendships suffer. It takes over all the internal real estate of your thinking and it becomes your whole world. This is what I call a sinkhole wound, and it acts like a vortex within you. Once it starts, it quickly gains momentum and you can feel like you're drowning or losing yourself in the situation. It's the trailhead of a core wound that is very deep, very old, and likely formed within you when you were very young before you could speak. So it exists pre-verbally in your body like a thumbprint. This means you can't cognitively heal your way out of this wound. This is not a rational process that's happening within you. It's a primal wound. It's concerned with very basic feelings of lack of emotional and physical safety and triggers your nervous system just as much, to the degree where you feel like you might die without this person. And if there was actually a tiger in the bushes in front of you, you'd understand why you were reacting in such a fearful way for your life. But all you've got is an emotionally unavailable guy who can't commit to you, and you're spiraling as if you're going to die without him. The tricky part of this wound in you is that it's trying to play out some kind of resolution or healing. It's using this scenario with this guy as a way to express desire to finally be chosen. So you'll find yourself in your head playing out all these future possibilities of reconciliation, of love finally winning, of him waking up one day and realizing you're the one. When you're in this state of mind, it's like you're in one of those halls of mirrors in the circus tent, right? Except the mirrors are broken and you're being reflected back to you all these old memories of abandonment and attachment trauma. And except now it's actually in relation to this current person, right? You're projecting onto this current person all of your old memories of abandonment, and you just get completely lost in these mirrors and you don't know what's reality and what is your past. Now, the reason they've become your primary attachment figure like this is because they replicate something familiar from home, but home and family wasn't safe for you. So when you have that familiar feeling with someone, run, because you know that's a family of origin wound being triggered, and the wound will try and resolve itself in fantasy where he finally chooses you and you have a life together. And your anxiety and obsession is going to focus on this resolution. It's going to spend all of its time in fantasy land playing out the resolution. That is your mind expressing what the wound in your body desires to be healed. But it cannot be healed through this external situation, particularly with someone who will only ever abandon you. It can only be rewounded in a scenario like this because you will only ever choose people that wound you if you've got this wound within you. So how do we get out of the vortex? And is it even possible to heal a wound this significant? The answer is yes, of course, but first you need to get out of the vortex. To do that, you need to establish safety in the body. Safety might seem like an esoteric concept to you because you are currently sitting in a chair, safe, watching YouTube. There's no tiger in the bushes, but your wound is triggering you and it's leaving you feeling like you are unsafe as you felt as a child when your parents neglected you or abandoned you. And that imprint stays in your body and your nervous system, and it goes into fight-flight when your core wound gets triggered. What you needed as a child, which was a parent to sit down with you and hug you and breathe with you until you felt safe in connection again, you've got to now give that to yourself. You can sit with yourself, hug yourself, breathe, do all those things to get out of the vortex, yes, but there's an even more significant and deeper resourcing process you can do when you're triggered deeply. Please, by all means, start with self-soothing, self-hug, breathing, and regulating with a pet even. But you need to find a part within you that is grounded, knowing, has perspective and maturity that can take charge internally, be the adult in the room, so to speak. I have this part within myself and I use my connection to her whenever I need it. She is the wise, all-knowing Amy who's seen every single day of my life and is now, I know this is sad, but this is what works for me. She's at the last day of her life. She's completely content and knows that every single day was a blessing, that we walked together. We learnt so much together and enjoyed being human and all the gifts it has to offer. This part of me is the wise grandmother Amy. She has incredible perspective and I dialogue internally with her to work with me if I'm ever in the vortex. For For example, when I'm triggered, a young, naive, very fragile version of myself is in control, right? The little kid has got her sticky hands on the steering wheel, and I become like a child, feeling out of control. And in the vortex, this child becomes like a wild animal, right? She's going down and she's taking everyone with her. So silently, I ask my inner grandmother to sit with this wild animal, to hold a big space for her to express what she needs to express. And then I listen. My grandmother always says, she's perfect. Just as she is. She's doing exactly what she needs to be doing right now. This kind of attention and permission and validation and compassion inside me has a deeply soothing effect on my experience in the vortex. It's almost like in giving myself permission to walk the planet the way I'm walking, making mistakes the way I'm making, and repeating patterns, that the energy inside me that holds me normally unconsciously gets freed. And we know this from parts work, that the protectors, the inner critic, or the parts that hold a lot of shame, keep our patterns in place. So to conjure a wiser, more mature part of you that can validate this part that's stuck in shame has an incredibly releasing effect. Now, this might be too esoteric for you, but you can effectively co-regulate and give yourself compassion in other ways, by being outside in nature or being with a pet, journaling to yourself from this wise part, imagining a parent or grandparent speaking to you the way you needed to be spoken to when you were a child and need now, in a soft, loving, non-judgmental, compassionate way. And within this, safety in the nervous system needs to happen in a way that's meaningful to you. So experiment with different activities. And of course, when you're in contact with other people who provide a safe space for you, you will get the most benefit, because the abandonment wound was created in relationship, and it can be healed most effectively by finding safe relationships around you. Now, is it possible to heal the wound that sends you down this vortex, this sinkhole in your body? Honestly, from my experience, the tracks in the sand of the vortex are always going to be there, but the less you go down the vortex and the more healed your core wounds become, the more choice and awareness and agency you have of when you get triggered and that sinkhole starts to kind of appear in you, and it allows you to pull yourself back out again. You need to focus on healing the specific attachment and abandonment wounds that trigger this sinkhole effect in you, and not just through talk therapy, but actually learning specific somatic tools to heal them from where they live in your body. Not just somatic exercises like breath work, but actually learning how to come into relationship with your wounds in your body and in your nervous system. And healing these core wounds somatically is what I teach in Heal Your Heart School. To get you started, I want you to watch this video next to learn how to heal your abandonment wound from where it lives in the body. And of course, if you want more help with this, I'd love to speak with you on a free consultation call so we can see if we're fit to work together. You can book a call at the link in my calendar in the description below. And in the meantime, here are some next step videos to help you break your unhealthy relationship patterns, heal your self-abandonment, so you can have a beautifully healthy relationship, being emotionally available to yourself and to others. And for now, I'll see you in the next video.